Nigerian government is worried about the escalating situation in respect of prices of commodities and food shortage. The Vice President Kashim Shettima says that some unscrupulous people are working to undermine the effort of the President Bola Tinubu administration to revamp the Nigerian economy. The Vice President says that smugglers and politicians are brains behind the attempt to pull the nation backward. The VP says 45 trucks loaded with maize were intercepted while making their way to neighboring countries at midnight this very Sunday. Take a listen to the Vice President.
Forces are helping on plunging this country into a state of anarchy. Those that will not get into power with the ballot box. Instead for them to wait till 2027, they are so desperate. If this country can fall apart, as far as they are concerned, so be it. But we are going to resist them. Just 3 nights ago, 43 trucks of maize, 45, not even 43, were caught being transported to a neighboring country. Just in that illegal act, there are 32 illegal smuggling boats. At the moment, those foodstuffs were intercepted. The price of maize fell by 10,000 naira. It came down from 60,000 to 50,000. And the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security is here. So there are forces that are helping on undermining our nation. But this is the time for us to coalesce into a single force. Riding around our president, riding around our government, riding around each other. We have the resources, we have the intellect, we have the capacity.
You heard the Vice President is named those who are possibly responsible in part to the food shortage that we see in Nigeria. In the Senate, this matter was also up for conversation. Take a listen to what the lawmaker said.
What we think we have in the silos in stock may not be up to that figure. And that means that we have to look for much of the food that we need for our people elsewhere. Whether we go to the market and buy, or whatever it is that we need to do, Mr. President, we must provide food for Nigerians at this point.
State governments are doing well, trying to get across to those in need. Others should also do the same. Not only the state government, even local governments. Their grants, their allocations from the federation account has increased. They should also go out there, procure grains and distribute. This, what we have at hand is not the sole responsibility of the federal government to solve. The entire system must come together, must collaborate to make sure we do the needful. So state governments should come out and do the needful.
So now people are being called out. State government, federal government. Yesterday on the program, someone said that the silos are empty. You're hearing on all of these issues that are coming up right now. What are the facts? What are the issues? Where do we go from here? People are hungry. That's what they say. People have gone to the street to protest. What is the government doing? Where do we go from here? Let's get the conversation forward. I'm being joined tonight by a former senator, a former minister of work, and it was a former pro-chancellor of the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Senator Adesheye Ogunlewe joins us live here in our Lagos studio. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Have you ever thought that we're going back to the military days where we'll be talking about shortage of essential commodities, shortage of food? Are you worried about what is going on?
Very worried, very, very worried. But I'm not surprised because for 8 years of the last administration, it was a fight against the academia, the universities, the researchers, people who are supposed to do research for your country and get modern way of farming. You fought them, they closed down universities, no research, nothing. no research grant.
But has there been research in the first place? Have they done any research in that respect?
A lot, particularly when you invest in research. There is no country that grows without research, because the product from the farm are the product that you can manufacture and export. But where the professors in the university are not honored, there is no fund for research. You cannot believe we have over about 20, university and colleges of agriculture.
More than that, there are over 30 actually.
Yes.
Based on what the Minister of Agriculture has said. I mean, some of those colleges and universities of agriculture are there. If the producer can put them on the screen, there are a number of them. There are 3 universities of agriculture. Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umuduke. Those are universities of agriculture, but there are other colleges, and there are a number of them from Ondo to Gombe to Oyo to Ebonyi. A long list of federal colleges of agriculture across the country.
And the combined acreage of this is over 50,000 hectares. University of Abeokuta alone, Federal University of Agriculture, has over 10,000 hectares. But there is no investment in them. There is no investment. They've done so much on research, but it is for the government now to harvest it. They belong to the federal government. Federal government pays their salary. They should just invest in them. We don't have any cause not to have food in this country. With all these, institutions that we have been investing on for years, but their products are not, are not seen by the federal government as what they must invest on.
On one hand, Senator, there are those who argue that security is a major problem to our food production.
Yes.
And you will hear, you listen to what the Vice President said. He said smugglers on one day, on Sunday, 45 trucks loaded with maize were being taken and smuggled out of this country. And he has accused smugglers and some politicians from being behind it.
But in the manifesto of the party, they said they are going to have commodity boards. If you have commodity boards, they will have bought all this cereal from the farmers. So there's a disconnect between the government and the farmers, between the government and researchers in the universities, what they are producing, what they ought to be producing, what they must research on. We don't have any reason not to have food in this country. There are so many areas where they can produce food, particularly if they invest in all these colleges of agriculture and University of Agriculture. They will make it. Let the president call them and let them address this issue and see what they can do, so that we can have hope in the next 1 month, in the next 1 year, what they can produce, the seedling they can produce. They have to make sure that they do research on new seedlings that can yield higher. And they have been doing so, but no incentive from the federal government, from the state government, for them to produce. There is no country that grows like this without heavy investment in research in agriculture.
Nigeria consumes an average of about 7 million metric tons of rice annually. From that quantum, just about a few percentages. It's even said that there are about 3 million or thereabout metric tons of rice are being smuggled into Nigeria, and we also we are not able to meet the production quota, to meet our consumption quota in the country. What we produce, it does not match what we consume. From your own point of view, rice is perhaps one of the most popular staple food in this country. How do we meet up? Because there are noise about the issue of shortage. Now, in the immediate, we need to find an urgent solution. In the intermediate, we need to find how we can grow and keep more, because there are those who are saying that the silos, the storages for these grains are not even, they are empty. So 102,000 metric tons of grains that the president said they should bring out. There are those who are questioning and say those things don't exist. Where do you think the Bola Tinubu government can start from, so that people are not falling off the road from hunger?
There are universities, there are professors in all our universities that are only doing research on rice. New variety of rice they are doing research almost on daily basis on them. Let the federal government invest in what we have. We will produce a lot better. But when you don't invest in research in your country, and you think your country is going to grow, it's very difficult. As if we don't have people who have spent all their life, studying how to produce rice.
So you want the federal government to go back to the universities and these schools and to consult the professors?
Yes, and invest in them. Give them more money. Give them research funds.
After they pay ASU salary.
When you don't even honor your academia, people who have the brain to develop your country, you owe them salaries, you treat them as if they are not important. You think everybody that has money is more important than people that have brains. That's our problem. To be a professor in a university, you know what it takes. Other than to be a buyer and seller. And then you make more money and you are neglected. How many researchers have been honored? How many researchers have been given national honor? We must go back to basics. Every product that we are seeing in the market, medical products, fruits, juice, they are born out of research. When you don't do research on, in your country to produce, then you'll be behind other nations. And we have the brain, we have the people, we have the institutions that belong to federal government.
But we have research institutes apart from the universities and the colleges.
Many.
We also have research institutes.
Many.
But sadly, in fact, during COVID, it was even said that some of the medical laboratories and research centers were moribund. We couldn't even generate any research to be able to support sustaining our own people. We started running helter-skelter for help. The question here is that in the immediate, like the question I asked, people are hungry, so they are asking. And you are a very good friend of President Bola Tinubu.
Yes.
And the question is that there are those who will say, and you are one of those who campaigned vigorously for President Bola Tinubu, that those who will say, your friend and your party promise so and so, but it doesn't look like you're delivering.
No. That is why everybody is discussing it. It's a free, let anybody who want to contribute to what must be done. We don't have, reason for excuses again, for blames. And he is doing his best to calm down people so that there can be solution. Like these 45 trucks that were about to be smuggled out, they will return them to the country.
Is it looking like things are getting out of hand and maybe the government is finding it difficult to be able to resolve these issues?
I don't think so. But they need to do more, particularly on our university institutions, on our research institutions.
But that may not be immediate. That may not solve the immediate problem.
They have it already. It's not new. When you're talking about cassava, when you're talking about rice, cereals, tomato, people have spent all their life studying them. And they are in these institutions. Even ordinary graduates, undergraduates before they graduate in all these universities, they do research. But there is no investment.
So the solution to the problems of this administration that is being faced by the society today, the president has it in the hands of the professors. Is that what you're saying?
One of it. We should not neglect our professors. We should not neglect our research institutions. We should go back to them and ask them the solutions. They have them.
Let me take you. The Senate is probing and querying the Anchor Borrowers Program. And it was a very popular initiative by the Central Bank of Nigeria trying to support agricultural initiative in this country. There are those who will ask the question. We saw the pyramid of rice that were being starched in some part of the country. But there are queries, there are question marks as to the funding, the execution, and some of how the monies were being spent, are you worried that some of these may have gone into private pockets?
Of course, there is no doubt at all. The function of a central bank does not include for extra funding of social projects outside the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, outside the Bank of Agriculture, outside Research Institute. Have you ever heard of ₦1 from that anchor borrowers that was invested in research? Why should you be giving people who are only going to farm?
So the CBN shouldn't have even ventured into
at all. It is not part of their mandate at all. Yes, they can fund research and get the produce of the research into the system. But when you fund farmers directly, which you cannot even determine where they are going to do the farming, they just diverted the money.
If you were the president, would you do importation of food in large quantity in the immediate?
Let us assess what is available first. Let us talk to research institutions. What do you have? What can we do? It is an academic exercise. We must talk to them. Anybody that is doing without statistics,
without data.
Without data, how do you know how many acres they will say?
You can't plan, you can't act, yes, because you don't have the data.
The data. And these data are available in all the institutions. They have done so much. They have even, outside farms, which they send their students to. So it is not the farm within the compound of these institutions. They have so many outreach farmers that they can come together, and in another 6 months, there will be enough food in this country. And these basic ones, like gari, like yam, like potato, they'll be available in 6 months because they have varieties.
So the president said he would not go in the way of importation of food.
It doesn't have to.
He said he will rely on local farmers.
Yes.
And he said he will not fix prices of commodity.
Local researchers, local farmers too. Local farmers are there, but it is the researchers.
But most of these farmers are not allowed to go to their farms because of the insecurity.
That is not in every state. That is what the federal government can also tackle. Some people who are in the military, I say, give us the power to clear all these forests. And they say they are going to do so. I don't know the reason why they are not pursuing that again. But it is not in every state that you have this problem. There are so many other locations where we can still do thorough mechanized farming.
I mean, Dr. Bugaje, for example, yesterday says, it doesn't look like this government knows how to resolve this problem.
They know. How will they not know? Why are we talking about it? Are they not going to listen? Are these universities, they don't belong to them? They belong to them, they fund them, they pay their salaries.
Dr. Bugaje, for example, believes that the policies of this government are not the right policies. He believes that the manner in which they are approaching it under the Tinubu administration does not show capacity.
That's why everybody should comment. That's why everybody should add value. That's why you say, okay, what do we do? Honestly, we have enough capacity within ourselves to solve all our problems. Call the headaches in this country. They are there, but nobody talks to them. Nobody believes in them. You even tell them they are not going to pay your salary. You must go to, one crooked way of paying salary of people who devoted their life to research. How can you treat them like that? And you now teach spare part sellers, people who are bricklayers. You treat them above professors in the university. Which country goes like that? People that spend all their life doing research, day and night. Nobody talks to them. Nobody knows them. All these institutions have over 50,000 hectares of land available within the premises of the university and colleges, and these colleges that can be farmed immediately. If you give them money, they need money. All this money that they are giving to people, give them to these universities. They will produce the food. They will do additional research.
Look at the Naira, for example. You look at the rate at which the dollar is falling to the Naira. I mean, the Naira is falling against the dollar.
It is production. When you don't produce anything, you think your dollar will wait, it will run away from you.
Peter Obi was screaming that he wants to produce. He wants to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
Yes.
You agree with Peter Obi on that?
And it is not Peter Obi alone that knows that in the south, in the western region, then they have, industrial corporations where you have Ikeja Industrial Estate, you have Igomu Industrial Estate, you have Apapa Industrial Estate, you have several industrial estates. That is what the federal government and state should do. Create industrial estate, do research on all these commodities, put them out, produce them, and let the people, over 0.5% of what you produce are wasted because they are not processed.
The renewed hope agenda, do you think that maybe, just maybe, some of those who were sold and who caught that agenda may be losing hope in it?
No.
After 8 months.
How do you now re-establish it? That's what we are talking about. If you're talking about how to actualize it, you have to do research. You have to go back to the basics. A country that does not invest in research, have you ever seen any budget?
But one will imagine that all of these were the government got it. The APC team, under the Tinubu team, they got all of this research. They have the data. They get on the ground and get things working. Those are the things that a lot of people thought.
Have we ever had in our national budget any item for research?
Now, I'm saying, Senator, that when you and your friends were campaigning for President Bola Tinubu, you said he's the best man to do the job.
Definitely. He's still the best.
We thought that you imagine that he's got all the data, he's got all the solution. 8 months down the line, you said that we should go back to the basics. We thought that you had the basics, didn't you?
Surprised. Please criticize. Please give options. Please let us hear your own views.
After 8 months.
Then we will now...
Senator, I am asking that, is it the right time to be going back to the basics? We thought you had all the fundamentals intact and you were going to hit the ground running. Those are some of the things you said. You were on television. You were on record to say that this is the best option for Nigeria.
It is not a dash. Along the line, you meet obstacles, which we are meeting now.
But you are saying that they should go back to basics. It's not a matter of obstacles. You are saying that the fundamentals are missing.
No. Go back to research. Even this economic problem, there are people in universities that have studied options. Call them.
We thought you had all of those data.
They will come on board again. They will come on board.
So you are saying that there are some failures right now, and we should go back to the drawing board.
Normally, if you have a plan, there are obstacles along the line. There are unpredictables, X factor, something you cannot imagine will happen, like a force majeure. That is what is happening, and we are going to get it. Nigerians should not be patient. People, please criticize.
How easy do you tell a hungry man to be patient?
If you tell him...
You know what they say about the hungry man?
Give him a time. Your hunger will last another 3 months.
Have you seen an hungry man before?
Yes, 3 months.
You know what they say about the hungry man?
No.
They say he's an angry man.
You can have hope if you are sincere and you know what you are doing.
Hope for breakfast, hope for lunch, hope for night,
hope
for dinner.
If you have a professor of cassava, for instance, coming on board, say, look, we have been given enough money, and in another 3 months, we are going to produce this ton of cassava, and we will have Gary. They would listen to the man, other than the politician coming to talk to them. They will say it's deceiving them. But where a researcher talks, we should get them involved. Nigeria, okay, there is hope. This man knows what he's saying. You can ask him questions. Okay, how do we get there? How many land do you have? What is the acreage that you are going to plant? Then we will have more confidence in what a researcher will do or will say to the community, to the nation, than what a politician will say. It appears they've lost confidence in what the politicians are saying. Let some people who are knowledgeable on these areas talk to us.
You know, things have gotten so bad that Senator Aline Dume and Senator Salim Mustafa in the Senate are proposing, they moved the motion for the introduction of food stamps in Nigeria as an interim measure to address the imminent food insecurity in Nigeria. That's how far we're going.
I would have expected them to invite the university professors. that they pay salary to, that they fund to come and address them, to come and tell them, these are the problems. Prof, what do you think we can do? You are an expert in this cassava. You are an expert in cereal. You are an expert in tomato. They have experts in everything.
Senator, you being a federal minister, you being a senator, you being a pro-chancellor, would you say this is the lowest that we have come as a people in this country?
It is like that in the life of a country.
But would you say that this is the lowest we have come?
I can't say so. You know, I'm a politician.
1,500 to naira to $1.
Because we are not producing.
Senator,
we have to produce.
We have the unemployment rate to release, the inflation rate to release, the indices.
It will be worse.
But is it the fact, Senator, that this is the lowest perhaps that we have seen?
No. It is the figure that is...
I'm telling you the indices, Senator.
No. We'll overtake it. It's because, yes, we have to plan more.
Okay.
We have to do more research. We have to know why is it like this. That is the problem I have with the manager of the economy.
All right.
When things are going like that, call researchers. What do we do?
Senator, we must leave it at that. But I am hopeful. And I believe that if we get our acts together, and that's why we are probing this fact and this matter, so that we can get solutions.
Yes.
You know, that we believe in this country, and I believe that this is perhaps the coming together of some of the brightest black people that we have on earth.
We have them.
So why can't we get our acts together as a people?
Yes, that's what we lack.
But yet we are hoping and believe that the government that is leading will be able to do just what they promised that they would do. But thank you. You are one of the promoters of that government.
Yes.
But we hope that your friends, you talk to them, and they will be able to do the right thing.
By the grace of God.
Thank you so much,
Nigerians, just be patient. We'll get there.
Patience is
difficult.
Patience is one of the commonest words now.
Yes, it's difficult, but we'll get there.
I appreciate it.
We are on top of it.
Senator Adesheye Ogunlewe is a former senator, a former Minister of Works, and a former pro-chancellor of the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
My pleasure.